It is a bit of a misnomer that herbivores are simple, peaceful vegetarians. Though most times EOs are passive tanks until a line is crossed, they are fully capable of ending a life just because they feel like it. But today is a time to celebrate the beginning of life, not its end. This is Bramble the Ramble the Fourth, or just Burr for short, and she's a dashing little baby already. And here are her brothers: Thorn, Thistle, and Stick. 4 perfect tiny tanky spuds, these ceratopsians, along with Mom and Dad. This family is now complete. Including that weird uncle who almost got himself yeeted off a cliff by testing EO reflexes. In fact, the only downside to this near-perfect family is the fact that they were born in the winter, and the pond beside them has become undrinkable, forcing this happy family to move on. Not more than 5 steps outside the egg, and these babies are already out here murdering the first thing they see. With some pretty good coordination, to be honest. But there's much bigger things out in the wide world than just turtles and other critters. But these gigas, like most creatures, are on the move during winter, searching for any place that might have a lick of fresh water. Everything seems like a much bigger struggle when you're little. Like rivers. And critters that think you're food. Or even worse, chickens. It seems as though the chicken has been chased off for now. It seems this Latin is a persistent little bugger. The pest returns for a 3rd time, and it is anything but a charm. And with Mom securing the kill, Burr has a trophy she can be proud of her whole life. That is, if she can get it to the home cave safely, as many dangers still exist. Life is abundant in cedrus forests, though many exist here alone. Without the help of a herd or a pack, life can be more challenging for these individuals. Hey, nobody said you couldn't take starfish from strangers. Burr leaves her family behind to drop off her trophy, but when she returns, who would have thought parents could get into so much trouble? Not even a pack of sucos want to take on these parents. And with a bunch of little ones that look like this, who could blame these parents for giving it their all and putting their life on the line for these little tiny potatoes? But despite their victory, they're still forced to move. Water is still an essential element that is unfortunately lacking, even here. Burr and her brother Thorn were able to get a few sips in before the water turned completely rancid. Unfortunately, that didn't leave anything for the rest of the family. It's always encouraged to travel and expose your children to different cultures so they can develop a well-rounded view of the world. But Burr doesn't know how to feel about this herbivore that's more thumbs than dino. Well, at least they were friendly. A thou while you're trying to enjoy a nice mossy seat is a little unnerving, as long as they don't get too comfortable, perhaps. And at last, a pool of water that can quench the thirst of a whole Eo family. Dad can't help himself and takes a well-deserved shower without any kids yelling from the shore. Parents understand. Perhaps the peace was because the kids were distracted by something rather unusual. A duck with a very unusual looking offspring. I guess some parents just can't help but love what pops out of the egg. The Eos might not have known what to make of that weird-looking duck, but this next encounter absolutely captivates their little hearts. They're also rather enamored by this Struthy, but he lives life in the fast lane, and they live life in the slow lane. But that doesn't stop the Struthy from taking a moment to just enjoy life. Unfortunately, a mixed herd like this just isn't possible, and eventually the Eo family moves on. What luck, another well-stocked pond. Ooh, a little too well stocked. Now that the gator is known, he's easy to avoid. But not everything on land is as easy to avoid. Luckily for our group of babies, this is a very young and solitary mape who's not interested in trying an EO herd. Our young Appa bids the EO herd farewell, and our herd responds in kind. As they move on to the next destination, winter is losing its heavy grip, but it isn't spring yet. No longer the tiny little babies that they used to be. Their own individual colors are starting to show up, and what a collection they're turning out to be. And while they never lacked for courage before, they're now becoming braver and stronger, despite the odds. These overly concerned parents realize they don't have anything to worry about, as all that remains is 2 victorious children and some bloody footprints. And these babies have every right to be proud. Critters like that have taken out apexes 3 times their size, while ferocious alpha critters may not have given them pause. The sounds coming from this cave do. So letting Dad go first, they cautiously follow behind. But it's nothing more than a fellow Herbie who looks just a little sheepish, being caught destroying a nest. Perhaps they're hoping it wasn't these Eos' nest. I know this looks like a simple field, but I assure you it is not. It is a place where the restless and cursed souls live, looking to avenge themselves upon the living. This poor child fights with his demons, barely able to escape. But unfortunately, this demon has found its latest victim. Was this an act of revenge from all the critters these poor children have haplessly murdered? The living world may never know. The family is only able to mourn for a short time before necessity and a need for water forces them to move on. Stick, the youngest, will always be remembered. family is now close to where it all began. But it sounds less friendly than Burr remembers. Was this forest always so dangerous? Or had childhood just clouded her with optimism? Such a good thing that Burr had learned to defend herself. Perhaps this poor carnivore had just been so desperate, so starved. Perhaps he had overestimated his abilities, or underestimated Burr's. But either way, whatever thought he'd had, it was his last. The journey has come full circle. It will end where it began. As the Eos return to their nesting site, the nest will be rebuilt. Predators will quake in front of prey. And this herd will soon see new members join its ranks. Spring is just around the corner, and this is not just an end, but a glimpse at a possible future. Perhaps someday Burr will start her own family, and she will share the knowledge, the skills, and the trophies her family have passed down to her. But that day is not here yet. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this snippet of an Eo's life. If you've made it this far, please do help out by liking, sharing, subscribing if you're not already. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.